Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. How are all of you? Thanks for tuning in. It's good to have you with us on a Tuesday. We were gone a couple of days. We had some work in television and radio to take care of all day yesterday. And then, of course, Super Bowl Sunday with the family. We had a couple of sizable snowstorms that came through the area along the coast here. Of course, we broadcast our series live daily, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, outside the greater New York area, between New York and Boston, along the southern New England coastline. This is the show where we have good times. It's a traditional entertainment lifestyle talk show series, bringing back the lost art of conversation, blended with a modern vibe and a modern twist. Light, love, levity, or as we call it, lovity here on the Jim Masters Show live, a word that we just happened to accidentally stumble on when I said love and levity too fast in the summertime, and it's been lovity all the way ever since. How is everybody? I toast you with some dog love. Yes, this was a gift a while ago, and we love dogs. And the dog would like to know, when are you coming home? This was given to me as a gift, I think, when I was on location a lot on TV shoots. Dog love, and there you go. Unconditional love when it comes to a dog, right? Or a cat or any sort of pet, family member pet. We toast all of you. How's everybody been? Those of you who've been hit by some snowstorms, I know, in the Northeast, the Midwest, as we have as well. But the roads are clear. Everything looks really beautiful. We posted some video and some photos on the Facebook page at Jim Masters TV. I think we shared some on Twitter at Jim Masters TV and also on Instagram at Jim Masters TV. We welcome everybody who's watching us on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. See, we tried to make it easy. Everything is Jim Masters TV. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Twitch. Not on TikTok yet, but people keep telling me to go on there. But we're mastering all the rest as we have for years. I've actually had all of those platforms for a long time. YouTube, we've had that channel for a long time. If you haven't subscribed to it, would love if you did. So many people are, and so many people have. And those of you who have, thank you very much. That allows us to continue to bring you these episodes and the content as extensively and regularly as we do. When you subscribe to that YouTube channel. So we love that. How is everybody? Let's greet everyone. All of your cast of characters are here. There's Gilligan and Silver and Jimmy behind me. And we got George over here on the left, and Lin, who I think we're going to bring Lin the panda out this weekend, which I believe is Valentine's weekend coming up. Tess LaBella says, good evening, Mr. Lovity and all the Lovities. It's good to see you, Tess, in Florida, warm and sunny Florida. Welcome, Marie, to Lovely Hall, one of the happiest places on earth. Thank you, Tess, watching on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. We welcome everybody as well who's watching on YouTube, and some are also watching us on Facebook right now at Jim Masters TV. Denise says, hi, Jim. Good to see you, Denise. Welcome. Tina is here. Good evening, Jim and Marie and Lovities. And Jim, nice to have you back. Missed you. Hello, Lovities. Enjoy our master. Thank you, Willie. I hope you're doing well. She sends tulips from the Netherlands. That's where she is located, in the Netherlands. Mary Bishop is watching. Hello, Jim and Lovity friends. We have so many people who watch us live and like to comment and participate during the show. And then there's a lot of people who watch who don't necessarily comment, but they watch. And then we got a flood of people who watch these episodes later in the archives on YouTube, which is amazing. Good to see you, Mary, in Florida, and Kathy in Cleveland. As a matter of fact, Kathy, our very special guest, Marie Cauley, she's a wonderful author, writer, inspirational romance novelist. She's from Cleveland, Ohio herself. That's right, as you are, Kathy Short. Good to see you, Kathy. Jennifer in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Jen is Mountain Fresh Zen. Covered in snow, too, because you guys got hit hard with the snow. Hi, Jim, and welcome, Marie. You are now a Lovity. I told her all about the Lovity situation and how Lovity is so important on this show, and sharing the sunshine and having a good time, right? We have a good time. We have guests from all walks of life. Every show is something different, and we just have a really good time. And I know you guys look forward to when you hear that theme music start at the beginning of the show. Means the Jim Master Show Live is on. I have a wonderful time. Looking forward to doing these shows and hosting and producing them for you as well. Denise says, hi, Jim, and welcome, Marie. You're now a Lovity. Thank you, Denise. Good to see you. Christine Clifton in North Carolina. Greetings, Jim and Lovity friends. Happy National Pizza Day. That's right. I know how we all love food. Welcome, author and writer Marie Cauley, to the show tonight. Time for Lovity. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. Good to see you as well. Christine and Merlin is here from Canada, from Ontario. Hi, Jim and all Lovities. Good to see you as well. Welcome to the show. We've got lots more folks chiming in here. Amy says, hello all. Good to see you, Amy. Maureen raced home from the medical center and she goes, woo, I made it. Hello, Jim and all you wonderful Lovities. And of course, she works in the healthcare field. So we salute her as well. We salute all of you. Good to see you, Maureen. Kathleen Walker in New York City. Hi, Jim. Welcome back. Hi, everyone. Hope you are all well. Yeah, we took Sunday and Monday off. Some family time Sunday, the Super Bowl, and then, of course, Monday was a busy day with the professional work. Good evening, Mr. Lovity, and good evening, Lovities, from Linda Odell in St. Augustine. Good to see you as well, Linda and Tina. Love that mug. Cheers, Jim. I know we try to change up the mugs and the martini glasses and all the different ones that we have. Thanks, Tina. I'm glad you love the dog love mug, right? Unconditional love. That was a gift from one of our family members. Crystal Nolan in Connecticut says, hi, Jim and everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy National Pizza Day. Happy National Bagel and Lox Day, too. Boy, it's basically Happy National Carbohydrate Day, right? Carb Day. Looking forward to an exciting show with inspiring conversation and Lovity. You got it, my friend, Crystal. That's exactly what we're all about. Yes. And let's see, have we missed anybody? Let's see, Juanita in South Africa. Hello, Jim and Lovity family. Great to see you all. Thank you very much, Juanita. It's good to see you as well. Hope everything is going well for you in South Africa, and more coming in here. Everybody's saying hello to each other as well. And Austin Field is here. I'm very sorry I haven't been able to watch your show for a while as my computer went down. Had to buy another one. And, that's great. Well, I'm glad that you're watching tonight. Thanks. That's terrific. And Linda says, good evening, Marie. You're now a Lovity. And Craig, Ghostwriter 556. Aloha, Jim and all Lovities. Aloha from Hawaii. He's in Hawaii. Good to see you, Craig. And Louise, hi, Jim and Lovities, watching from Great Britain. Good to see you, Louise. Welcome. We have several people that watch us. I've seen the analytics. The number one place where the viewers come from is the United States. But then I would say next, it's a tie between Europe, the UK and Ireland, and Canada. They are right underneath the United States. Of course, it makes sense the United States because we broadcast from the United States. But Europe, UK, and Ireland is right there with Canada. And then all these other, it's amazing. Bangladesh, Australia, New Zealand, Namibia. People are watching from everywhere. It's really amazing. We do have an international audience, and we welcome all of you to our show. We're going to have a good time tonight. We also welcome Marie Cauley, who's our very special guest joining us from Cleveland, Ohio, as I mentioned. We welcome all Lovities who are tuning into the show today. Now, she is somebody who loves to write, and she doesn't just love to write. She loves to get her writings out there to the public. She's an independent author of inspirational romance novels. Her debut novel, Never Forgotten You, is available on Amazon, and she's currently working on the second book in the series. Marie is also a freelance writer, has gained many insights in covering music, dance, and the arts, which have fascinated her ever since she was a little girl. She's covered Dancing with the Stars and So You Think You Can Dance for Ballroom Dance Channel, run by DWTS. As well, enjoys learning all that she can about the world of creative arts in all its various forms. As a former columnist for Cleveland.com and the Sun News and journalist for regional publications, she has interviewed both local and national celebrities, including actress Roma Downey, inspirational recording artist Mandisa, and Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson. She's also blogged about the NBC show The Biggest Loser and is always ready to share stories, perseverance, and inspiration. Sounds like she's a perfect lovely guest for our show, isn't she, gang? Absolutely. I know you're going to warmly welcome my very special guest, Marie Cauley, live and direct from Cleveland, Ohio, as one of our lovelies right now. And welcome to the show, Marie. It's good to have you with us. How are you today?
Hi, Jim, and hi, everybody. It's good to be here tonight.
All the lovelies are here in place. Willie says, welcome, Marie. Have fun with the best host on earth. Thank you very much, Willie. I appreciate that. Ann Wozniak says, good evening, Marie, and welcome. And Mary Bishop says, welcome, Marie. Crystal Nolan, and Mary's in Florida. Ann's in Florida. Crystal is in Connecticut, and she says, hi, Marie. Welcome to Lovely Hall. Juanita is in South Africa. She says, welcome to the show, Marie. That's wonderful. You're getting all the lovely love coming your way from our from me and from our viewers. LaDonna Bailey Arthurs. Hi, Marie, as well. Welcome to the show. What a great name, huh? LaDonna Bailey Arthurs. That's a terrific name. So it's very, very elegant, very regal. Kathleen Walker says, welcome, Marie. Linda loves my my hat and shirt, my nice olive green sweater. Thank you very much. It's nice and warm and comfortable, Linda. And Craig, Ghost Rider 556, says, aloha, Marie. He's a wonderful writer as well, and he is in Hawaii. And he says hello. Merlin, who's in Canada, says, hi, Marie. Welcome to Lovity Hole. You're now a Lovity. How does it feel to be a Lovity already?
It feels really good to be a Lovity. I've had a little bit of the experience before watching a few of your other guests, but now I'm getting the full experience.
Now you're getting the full experience. That's right. You've seen it as a viewer, and now you get it as a special guest as well. And what do you think of the show, of what you've seen of it thus far with other episodes and other guests?
I've been very impressed with it. Like the guest, not only the guests you've had on, but the way that it's just an easygoing conversation. You know, you don't feel like the interview is just the host drilling people and just trying to get dirt on them or get them to slip up or anything like that. It's relaxed. It's inspiring. It just feels like you're in the living room with them having a conversation.
Which is perfect. And if you got all that out of watching, then you got exactly what we're all about here on the Jim Master Show Live. It's I tend to be somebody who likes to be supportive and lifting people up. I'm not a gotcha type of person. I'm more about, let's have a really good conversation. We all learn something. We all have some laughs. We all, leave the situation, we leave the room better than we found it. And we all learn from each other. The viewers learn, the lovities, I learn, you learn, and we all feel very, very connected, which I think is really, really fantastic. All these great comments coming in. Kathy is in Cleveland herself, and she says, hello, Marie. She's there in Cleveland, a neighbor. And Denise says, hi, Marie, as well. And Louise.
And I know Louise.
Hi, Marie, as well. Really, really fantastic. All the warm welcomes. And Linda Odell in St. Augustine, Florida says, it's a conversation with family, Marie. You are a lovely family now. And Christine says, welcome, Marie, to the show. You're now a lovity. Glad you can join us in a lovity hall. Tulips coming from Holland, from Willie for Marie. And Diana says, hi, Marie, from Central Valley, California. Really, really nice. So you're bowled over with lovity.
That's a good thing. We all need that now.
Yes, we sure do. And Paris says hi, Marie, as well. Welcome, Paris, watching. Yeah, anybody watching on our YouTube channel, we would absolutely love it and appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel as well. So how have you been? I'm so glad that you're joining us here tonight on the Jim Master Show Live. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I'm glad when we sort of discovered each other and I invited you to pop on as my guest, you said, sure. And then we worked towards this date in February, and here you are. How have you been, and how have you been keeping busy and creative during all the interesting times that we have been experiencing of late?
Well, it's been crazy with so many things going on. First of all, we had the lockdown, so everybody was home. And then I've been back to work since I have a day job too. I work at a bookstore, and
And
which is a
that's so, of course, right? Oh, the
so,
author and writer has to work in the bookstore.
of course. And I also work in the cafe, and I'm a barista, so coffee and books, what could be better? But some people didn't come back because didn't want to come back to work during the pandemic. So
Yeah.
we've been short staffed, and we've been working longer and extra hours, and it's been crazy. So then when I come home, there are some days where I don't want to look at anything and just, chill out. And then there are other days where it's like the writing helps me de-stress. So it helps to either read or write or do something like that when I get home. And then
Yeah.
just the craziness in general. My son goes to Ohio State, and he got a part-time job on the weekends at the Cleveland Clinic. So he comes back and forth on the weekends, and
Oh,
he's a
nice.
phlebotomist at the clinic. So, which I'm proud of him, but I'm worried too, because he's in the middle of everything that's going on there, and he sees it all. And, he comes home and he tells us all about it. So it's extra stress, that you have to deal with, but just like everybody else in healthcare, you have to learn to deal with it. So it'll work out. Just, you have to keep the faith.
Exactly. And that's the key, is keeping this positivity train going, right? You got to be, because obviously he's working in healthcare, so he's witnessed a lot of different things over the last many months, huh?
Oh, a lot. He tells us, and there are certain shifts when he has the COVID floor, and he draws
Yeah.
blood there, and he's, fully decked out so that he's protected and everything. So that part you're not so worried about, but it's still a little nerve-wracking because, you still have to be careful.
He could probably write a book about it all himself. I absolutely don't doubt. Karen says, hi, Marie from Missouri.
Oh, hey,
Karen
Karen.
Brindell, which is wonderful too. Yeah. And Juanita goes, ooh, books and coffee and books. Winner. That
Always a
is a
good
good,
combination.
right. It's a pretty good combo. Absolutely. So I was mentioning the book that you've penned, but before we talk about that cool book, and then here it is here, if people want to see it, it's Never Forgotten You. It's an inspirational romance novel. We're going to talk about it in just a second. But before we do, um, how did you first get started? Were you always a kid that was a writer when you were in school? I mean, um, I started doing that when I was in school. I mean, I kept a journal. I was always writing. I used to like write letters. I remember in college, I used to write letters to my aunts and uncles and friends, and they would write back while I was away at college. I worked for the school newspaper, the radio station, the TV station. So really got immersed in all of it. How about you early on? What were some of those sources of inspiration for you, Marie, to get into journalism and to get into writing?
Well, it's funny because with this book, I kind of delve into that a little bit. There's some semi-biographical things in the book that you change the names to protect the guilty in them. But some things are things that I've gone through, and then some things I've adjusted to. One of the things, because my book is inspired by growing up on the Partridge Family and watching David Cassidy. That started when I was about 5 years old, when I started watching the show, and I was just, like every other girl, I was crazy about David Cassidy. So that's where that started there. And on the show, they always talked about writing songs, so that was where the writing thing got into my head. So even as a little kid, I'd in my head make up some song lyrics or make up some stories in my head. And I wish I had written them down when I was little, because they'd probably be very entertaining to read now. But that was kind of where it started. And then as I got older, I had other songwriters inspire me to keep working on song lyrics and then still work on stories. English was my favorite subject in school besides music. And then even like other shows growing up, like Mary Tyler Moore, in a newsroom, that was like the perfect show to inspire so many of us.
Have you been to Minneapolis?
Not other than in the airport connecting flight. That was it.
Yes, me too. They have the statue of Mary Richards and Mary Tyler Moore there in Minneapolis, where WJM was supposed to be. And I always liked the fact that it was WJM because that's Jim Masters. And working in television and radio like I do, WJM was always perfect. And then you had Ted Baxter, of course, Ted Knight playing Ted Baxter, and Lou Grant, and just was really, really great. So those shows sort of inspired you then early on. Were you inspired by other TV series? Were the Brady Bunch, the Dick Van Dyke Show, where they were comedy writers, Sally and Buddy?
Bunch, because I mean, like Partridge Family premiered in 1970. I was like 4 years old then, so that's about the start of when things started for me, where I was getting inspired by something I saw on TV.
Yes.
At that age. So some of the Brady Bunch, more Partridge Family than Brady Bunch, but I loved the Brady Bunch. You know, growing up on that too. Friday nights were the best. The Brady Bunch and the Partridge Family back to back.
Karen said not only is the book great, you write great reviews, wonderful reviews of concerts as well. Tell us about that.
Well, it's partially because one of your previous guests is how I found out about you, and that's John Lloyd Young.
Oh,
and,
sure, yeah.
So that's how I know some of these people that are on here now, is because they watched him, and I'm friends with them, and they're on watching me too. So when I would see him in person, I'm one of those people that goes around and sees him in concert in person. There's so many of us that do that. But luckily I have the gift of writing. So I would go see him, and then I'd get home and I'd write a concert review and, you know, post it different places. And now with the live streams, you had to adjust a little bit, and I still do them. But one thing is, during the concert, I get to take notes because I'm sitting in front of my computer now, instead of just, you know, having it all committed to memory, which, you know, when I'd be out of town at a live show of his or even somebody else's, there've been a couple other ones that I've done. I would get back to the hotel room and just jot down notes from the night so that I'd remember what I needed to do, because usually then I would drive home the next day or fly home the next day or whatever, and get home and write it up. And then I'd be like, okay, do I remember all the songs that were on this? You know, and what else happened?
Do you use a little recorder at all, like a mini recorder?
I don't know, because they usually frown upon you recording during the shows. So I try to stay away from that. So I try to do it mostly from memory, and luckily I have a good memory. So that's one thing I've been blessed with is a good memory. So I remember most of it. Sometimes I'll go back later and I'll be like, oh, wait, there was this song and I forgot about it. And if I remember, I'll go back and add it in.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So you saw the episode where John was, he's a good friend, and he was the guest in the fall, late fall, early winter, and we had an epic conversation, a lot of laughs too. He's going to be coming back on the show. I know some people have asked, when's John back? We're going to have him back probably in the spring time at some point, but and we've stayed in touch. We always, all the guests, it's amazing. A lot of the guests I've already known personally before they come on because of my work in television, radio, and stage and all. So they come on as friends. Others that I meet who other people bring to the show, we end up staying in contact as well, either texting or calling or emailing, which I think is a beautiful part of what we're doing here with the show. And John and I chatted after as well. So you enjoyed that episode, huh?
Oh, sure. I mean, that was the first episode because that was how I'd heard of you, was when he was on. And that kind of got me hooked on your show. And with my schedule, I don't always get to catch your show, but I do when I can. And so I've enjoyed the other guests too when they've come on.
You can see it in the archives on YouTube later, right? Which we make sure we have all the shows there for everybody to see later, you know, because a lot of people tell me they binge watch on demand. They binge watch one show and then it rolls into the next episode, and they'll watch that episode. And I've even found myself sometimes doing that if I'm checking out the shows and like critiquing the show and stuff like that from a professional standpoint. And I'm doing another task and I'll have it on in the background it's on YouTube, and it'll roll into the next episode and it'll just roll and roll. which is kind of cool. So, so the reviews of the concerts, you enjoy doing that, events and things of that nature, the reviewing part?
I do. I would like to get to do more of that. Not, not just for his shows, which I mean, he's one of those people that inspires me a lot. So I like being able to do that for his shows. But there are other people that I wouldn't mind doing some for. I've done a couple CD reviews for other people, like too. So I do. And at one point when I was freelancing, I did some book reviews for a magazine. So that's kind of where it led into me then thinking of doing concert reviews for people.
We should have you do a review of the Jim Master Show live from the perspective of the viewer and our guest.
That would be
That
a cool thing to do.
That would be cool because you get both, exposure to both. So again, early on, the journalistic side of study and things of that nature, what were some of those early, opportunities that opened up for you where you got a chance to really write and enjoy? Were you writing more newspaper articles and reporting type stuff first, or was it short stories? Fiction, nonfiction? Tell us a little bit about some of the first writings that you did, Marie.
A, a little bit like in high school, like I won a couple of awards for poetry in high school, like Cleveland Diocese, like, because I went to Catholic school, all Catholic school, and had some awards for that. Our Spanish class had to write poetry in Spanish, and I had an award for Spanish poetry, which it's been so long since I've spoken my Spanish that I have to kind of like relearn that again. And every once in a while I have some time to do that, but I have a long way to go to bring that all back if I were to think of doing something like that. But, that kind of thing. And then once I graduated, I didn't write as much for a while. I still worked on like some song lyrics because I did that like in high school and stuff too. And I still work on those sometimes. But then you graduate and you get out into the real world and get that, what they quote, real job,
Mm-hmm.
to pay the bills and all that kind of stuff. And then have a family and all that. And you get busy and then you don't do it as much. And then all of a sudden, the one day I was reading a book. I can't remember which novel it was at the time, because when I was in high school originally, I'm a big Jane Austen fan. And Pride and Prejudice was the book that first made me think, I should write, and that's always been in my mind. But then, life happens and you do other things. So then I can't even remember what novel it was. I think it was a Lou Anne Rice novel, if you've ever heard of her. Mm-hmm. She's a sweetheart too. She's a great author, and she's so kind to all her fans. And I think it was one of her books that I was reading where I was like, I've thought of this before, but, I could do this. I could write a book. And it got me started on the path to writing. And there was one idea I had for a book that didn't get all that far. I got about a couple chapters into writing it. And then all of a sudden I had the idea for this book that's been published now. And I was thinking, it was weird because I was getting ready for work the one morning and I was thinking about the new idea, and I'd already started that other couple of chapters. And I'm like, well, once I finish writing the first one, maybe I'll do this one. And then I had this like voice in my head, probably the voice of God or an angel or something, telling me, set that aside. You need to write this one now, which wound up being a good idea because I was able to fully develop the story. And the other one, I'm still not sure where that would have gone. So that was my freshman attempt, is sitting in a drawer somewhere. This one went a lot further. And then along the way, I started finding other opportunities for writing, like online and stuff. I wound up doing a little bit of publicity for somebody, and I won't say his name only because he doesn't really want his name out there, because I ghost wrote for him. And there were a few of us that helped him. He was on VH1 on a TV show, and they had a blog that they all had to keep up while they were on the show. And he needed somebody to help him write it because he was too busy to write it. And I believe also he deals with dyslexia, so he really needed some help writing. And he's somebody that grew up in the area here in Cleveland, and I knew his dad for years, which is how I wound up doing that. So that kind of led into some writing. And then it's how I met through him. I met another lady that was doing stuff for him who, ran things at Ballroom Dance Channel, which led into that. And from there, and then in the meantime, I found out that they needed columnists for the Sun News and Cleveland.com, and picked up that. So it was kind of like a few things all happening at once.
So what was that like when you had an opportunity to become a columnist? That must have been exciting, huh?
It was actually for my suburb here in Cleveland, which is North Ridgeville. And it's a little west of Cleveland. It's actually the next county over, but still kind of considered Cleveland area for the most part. It was a column about things going on in town here. And, I got to interview different people around locally, local businesses. I actually, before that, even if you've heard of patch.com at all.
Sure, yeah.
I wrote for another suburb for Westlake. I wrote some things for them, and I actually did a series where I went around looking for businesses to write about, because they're like, see what you can come up with besides the ideas we throw at you, So I saw some new businesses opening up, and one was a spin studio for a spin class. And at the time I was covering Biggest Loser. So I'm like, you know what, this would probably be a good thing to give it a try. And so, I approached both the owners of the studio and Patch to try to write about that. I'm like, I can take class and then like cover it. So it wound up being like a 4 or 5 part series where I wrote about the first lesson where you learn how to set everything up and how the bike works and everything, and how that first time you feel like you're not going to make it through and you're going to be on the floor. And, and then how over time you build strength up and get better at it. And, just how the owners got started with it and everything else. And it's something that over time, because of switching jobs and stuff, I haven't been able to get back to spin. And then like right now with COVID, I think they've just opened up again recently and like have very, very distanced bikes for everybody. But it's something that just time wise and money wise, I'd like to start again, because I obviously need to get back in shape, especially the couple of extra pounds that wound up over the last few months, like we all have had.
As I've said on the show, Marie, that we have to be socially distant by 6 feet from each other, but we have to be 10 feet away from our refrigerators.
That's for sure. And the drive-throughs when you're in a hurry,
a lot of that takeout, right? And when you do the takeout, you end up getting a lot of extra things that you might not have gotten to stock up just in case.
It's funny, over the last couple of weeks, they're rearranging our whole store. So of course we're going to have to relearn where everything is in the store again. But our district manager comes in, and while we're working, she's like, okay, I bought pizza, everybody. And it's like, thank you, because it's good, because we don't have to. And it's like, okay, but now I'm eating more pizza.
Exactly.
So, it's a good thing that we were moving around a lot and doing a lot of things.
So you make a mean coffee, huh? What's your specialty at the shop?
Oh, wow. I mean, we have different special drinks. They like every couple of months they introduce like new special things that are limited time and stuff like that. So of course, over the holidays, the pumpkin spice and the peppermint mochas and that kind of thing. The caramel macchiato is big right now, and that's usually popular year round, but they're featuring it right now. And who doesn't love caramel? So that's one of my favorites.
That's a good one for sure. Absolutely. So again, when you had the opportunity to be a columnist, was there any desire at all to dabble into the news reporting part of writing at all? The journalistic reporter type?
There is. And the only problem that I've run into is that I don't have a degree in journalism. And there's a lot of places that don't want to even listen to you if you don't have that degree. So it's kind of like building from where I am and trying to see what I can build upon.
Exactly right. Exactly. So you wrote this book. Tell us about the inspiration for this book. And it's considered an inspirational romance novel. Tell us about that. The fact, because you hear of so many romance novels, but the fact that it's an inspirational romance novel. Define that a little bit for us in terms of some of the extra nuances and maybe extra essences of this novel that you throw in that have that inspirational bent and flavor. Never Forgotten You.
The inspirational part of it is mostly the fact that it's faith based.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, and I'm one of the there are people that write Christian romance that quote scripture. I'm not a scripture quoter. I feel that when there's some people that are really good at it, and then there's others like me that like want to focus more on just your personal relationship with your faith or with God or whatever faith that you believe in. Just the more personal level, and not because sometimes you lose people with too much quoting of that. And a lot of people that maybe are just delving into the subject need to start out just a conversation about faith without quoting everything. And so it's faith-based. There's scenes in church and stuff like that there. It's I grew up Catholic, so it's Catholic church in mine. But they both, well, she's always leaned up heavily on her faith, and the male protagonist, he kind of learned that over time because of all the things he's gone through in his life, that he needs to rely more on his faith.
And that's very important too, because I think a lot of people, especially during everything that we've been through in the last many months, are searching for things and people and faith and just things to cling to, things to be able to turn to for healing or for solace and for making sense of it all as best as possible. And there's been an increase in that as well, as people are searching for the answer to what's it all about Alfie moments that we've all had in the last year or so. So that's fantastic. Tell us a little. You have the book there in front of you, right?
Yes.
Do you want to share a little bit of the book for our audience, and tell us the actual cover? How did you come up with the cover, and where was that shot taken?
That cover is actually something that I picked from where I published from.
Yeah.
Because I published through a place called Create Space when I was self-publishing, and they're now merged with Amazon, and it's called KDP now. And it's all that, but they have, because being a starving artist, I didn't have like money to soak into this. So
Yeah.
they let you publish for free unless you have them create special cover art, and then you charge for that. Otherwise, they have a whole bunch of covers you can choose from, and that's what one this is. I found the one that most resembled what was going on in my story for that. And so, and you can do all the add-ons that do cost, but other than that, you publish for free through them. And what happens is then your book's available on Amazon and some other outlets, and then Amazon and those other outlets, they take their percentage, and then the publisher takes theirs, and then you get a commission off of it too, so that it covers everybody. So that's how they make their money. So instead of charging you up front for publishing your book and all these other things, they get something off of each book, just like you do.
Exactly, and they help get it out there and sort of market it, and they're sort of like the transactional space, which makes it a lot easier for you and other authors and writers. Just wanted to show you a couple of things here. Hi, Marie from the Poconos. That's Tina. Willie says this is her 260th episode of the Jim Master Show Live that she's watched consecutively. Wow, Willie, thank you. Karen asks, how long did it take to write this book?
At the time when I was doing it, I was working, I had another job at a different place. And it took a couple of years to write because I was doing it in between work and everything. And then it sat for a while because I was trying to find an editor that I could afford to go over it, because editing can get expensive. And so that was my problem, was I kept finding all these people and they're like, oh, I charge this much. And I'm thinking, I don't have that kind of money. I'm, working my regular job and I don't have like all kinds of money set on the side for this. There's got to be a better way. And then, we found out you could publish for free. Their editor charges, but then I have other local authors in the area that recommended a couple of people to me. And the one, she was reasonable. And it's funny because I was discouraged for quite a while, trying to get it out there. Like, well, I got the book finally written. Now what do I do? I can't afford an editor,
Mm-hmm.
And then, I've had different people encourage and inspire me to make sure that I get it out there and to keep going, keep working toward it. And so I kept looking around. And then finally, I had a couple of people recommended to me. And the one lady, she was rather reasonably priced, and then she discounted it further as long as I promoted her, like on my social media and stuff, on on her website and things like that. And she did it part-time too. She's a dentist for her day job, and she edits on the side. So, and I'm not sure if she's even still doing it anymore. She might be. So when the second book, I'm only more than halfway through the first draft, so it's going to be a little while yet, but possibly we'll use her again when I'm ready. And if not, then I might be looking for somebody again. But at least now I know I have some options and stuff too.
Exactly right.
Once I finally found an editor, and then it took, because she was doing it at night when she wasn't at her job, it took probably about 4 months for her to do the editing and for me to, update it and everything else. And then finally I uploaded it to CreateSpace so that I could, publish it. And then it's print on demand. So once you tell them it's ready, and they're like, what date do you want your book to go live?
Yeah, let's see it. Time to get it out there to
and then people can buy it. And then they print it on demand. So then, yeah, that was an interesting experience. And I still remember, because they send you a proof of your book to look through before it goes live to make sure, because if there's any corrections or anything. And I think there's still a typo or two that got missed. But considering how many I've found in traditionally published books, I don't feel too bad, because I see a lot of typos get through on those. But once I went through it, I remember getting that proof in my hands, and my hands shaking, opening the boxes, like, there's my stuff. It's in print now,
There it is. What was that feeling like?
That was just like, tears of joy of just having my book out, in print, and knowing that once I told them, okay, go ahead and send it live, I fixed a couple things in it that needed fixing, and then it went live like a couple of days later. And then, of course, I got a copy of the good copy that had been fixed, and then it was, out there for everybody. But it's such a feeling like of accomplishment and just joy of finally, getting it out there.
Absolutely. LaDonna says realistic romance novel. Mona says, hi, Jim and Marie and all the lovelies from Louisiana. Denise says, it's a very, good to see you, Mona. It's a very inspirational novel. It teaches you never to give up hope. That is really beautiful to say. And Mona says, love the cover. It looks like a great book. Absolutely. And Tess Labella, who is one of our great friends, says, Marie is such a sweet person. Amy, who's is a poet herself, and we shared some of her poetry on our poetry celebration episode last week. Thank you for sharing your process. And Tess says, always have options. Very true. You have to have options in life. Plan A, plan B, plan C, and sometimes plan D, E, and we skip F. We go right to G. Mona says, going to share your book to my daughter and friends. They love reading love stories. I can't wait to get it. I'm going to look for it. Our viewers, our lovely viewers, are very responsive. Within seconds of us debuting something on the show, they respond accordingly. So Mona is already doing the search on Amazon. You have the book there. Do you want to show us again the book cover? Maybe read something from the book for us? Share something from the book?
Here is the book. I have it. It's my lighting in here is kind of weird. So, but I'll just read a short passage and I'll preface it a little bit that the story is about, it's a former teen idol because it was, inspired by David Cassidy. So it's about a former teen idol, and he's been through a lot of things in his life and he's trying to make a comeback. And then this woman that basically had a crush on him growing up meets him 20 years after the fact while he's trying to make this comeback. And, they start falling for each other. So that's where we're at now, and where he just had his comeback show, the first show, and there's a lady that started flirting with him basically when she ran into him after the show, like a couple days later, and what happened after that, what he's thinking.
Did you ever write to David Cassidy when you were a kid? Did you write to the Partridge Family? Or
didn't? No. Nowadays on social and of course, it broke my heart when David Cassidy passed away.
Early age, yeah.
All the problems he's had in his life, and his, all his issues, not only personal but with his family and with, with the powers that be, withholding money from him, like that he should have earned back then and stuff like that. All of that he's gone through, and But nowadays, in the days of social media, it's so funny because, I'm friends with Shirley Jones on Facebook. And Sean Cassidy started following me on Twitter, which was like, okay. Okay, I
Danny
got one.
You got Danny Bonaducci?
I haven't met him or talked to him. I follow him, but he's on now and then. He's pretty funny.
Madonna says, thinking going to read it again. She loved it. And Tina says, I own and have read your book. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to reading your next one as well. So, so is this semi-autobiographical in a way, sort of the book? Is there elements of Marie in this book?
There are. I kind of adjusted age-wise because when Partridge Family started, I was 5 years old. So to make it a little bit, and I mean, probably kids from 2 years old up had crushes on David Cassidy, I'm sure, at that time. But to make it a little bit more believable in here, I made the girl, when this show, the fictional show in my book started, because it's not, named The Partridge Family. It's a whole different thing. When this fictional show was on, I made her 11 because that was closer to an age where that, that crush made a lot of sense, So I adjusted that. There's some other things, but certain things like some of her dreams of writing songs and things like that are based on me. There's another character introduced in the book that's somebody that this character she went to school with. It's based on somebody that I went to school with, and that's one of those names protected to protect the guilt. Because the
innocence and the guilt.
Kind of my imagining if I ran into this person now after we've grown up and they're not as immature as they were back then, and not that I was perfectly mature either, but from different actions that they did and stuff like that. Like if I met them now, what would I think could possibly happen? So kind of went in that direction. So certain things like that, certain things are true parts, and then certain parts are like, what if this happened? What if I came across this person and they did this? So that's where I went with a lot of it.
So you want to share a passage or two from the book for our audience and for me? We'd love it.
Okay. So this is the part where after he had that lady from the concert flirting with him, says, as the lady continued her way down the street, Chris attacked his thoughts. I suppose I'll have to get used to the attention again. I wasn't quite expecting that. Not after 20 years. Then he thought of Karen. Would she be able to handle him getting this kind of attention from other females? Why am I even worried about that yet? He started walking more slowly. I just met Karen. She's wonderful, but am I getting a little ahead of myself here? Chris knew Father John had a point. Chris had his heart broken many times before, something he'd confessed to Father when he was at his lowest point. But even with that in mind, shouldn't he still follow his intuition and his heart? He really felt that maybe God was trying to tell him something that was not coming in the form of a parish priest. He knew God sometimes spoke in mysterious ways. His message didn't always come from the place you would expect. Chris found himself now standing in front of his car. He got in, but he couldn't bring himself to start it. He just sat there staring into space. I have too many different things going on in my head, he finally said aloud, now that he was shut tight in his car all by himself. I better get my mind cleared before I drive anywhere. Chris leaned back his head in his seat to relax. The warm sun streaming through the windows felt so good on his face. He closed his eyes, and in almost no time at all, Chris was asleep. So, the part of the story is that there's the parish that he goes to. There's one priest that he's really close to, and because he's starting to see this woman, because he met this woman at the concert as well, the priest is kind of telling him, you know how many times you've had your heart broken. You should really, really be careful with her, be wary of her. You just met her. How do you know you're in love with her? That kind of thing. So he's got that in his mind, but then he's going, but this woman's different than the other ones, But then he's still got, and he's thinking, well, this is a priest. Priests usually give good advice, right?
All right.
I mean, and most of the time they do, but there are times that they don't. And there are times that because they're not with you living your life, every moment of the day, they don't always know exactly everything that's going on. So they can't always give perfect advice. So, you have to take it with a grain of salt and then maybe take it into consideration, but then, figure things out and pray about it yourself and see where it goes from there. So that's kind of where he was at with that.
What's the, I know we've had some wonderful comments thus far tonight on our show, but what's been the overall feedback or reaction to Never Forgotten You?
I've gotten, for the most part, really good reviews on it. A lot of people saying that they appreciate the faith aspect of it, and basically the not giving up on your dreams, trying to go for your dreams, whatever they are, even if it's something that you dreamed as a kid, that you as an adult, it's not too late to go for it, for most things. And also that a lot of people are happy for it to be a clean romance, because, that way they can give it like to their daughters to read, like, my 12 or 13-year-old can read it too, good positive comments like that.
Now you have another book in the offing. You're already thinking about developing another book?
I'm working on the second one in the series, and this series is going to be a little back and forth.
So it is going to be a series then.
It is going to be a series. There's a cliffhanger in this one. But then this book's taking place in California. And in the book, I have the male lead. Obviously, he was a former teen idol. And he has a half brother who's a Broadway star. And this was developed, quite a while ago, because I've loved Broadway forever. And just wanted to go there with it. And so then in the meantime, now that you know that so many of us follow John Young and see him perform, when a lot of us first came, there are people that have been following him since Broadway, but some of us didn't get to know him at all until the movie came out. And at that point, a lot of us got like really inspired by him in different ways, and partially because he had a quote at one point about, if you have a talent, you have an obligation to get it out there, no matter what other people, I'm paraphrasing, but no matter what other people tell you, and never give up on it, And that was partially what was in my head when I was trying to find this editor. He was one of the people that quote, helped me, that light bulb go off, like, I really, really need to find this editor, and along with a couple other people that I know. And he's just a really good, kind person to all of us. We've all been inspired by him. Like, there have been people that have been inspired to act again, to sing again, to start their artwork again, or have done artwork of him. People that are, getting really good at photography because of him and things like that. There's like, if you talked to like everybody, all of us, we all have some sort of story like that. And mine happens to be about the writing in the book. So he's always been encouraging to all of us, and he's been encouraging to me as well about getting it out there. So with that in mind, I wound up thinking, well, I have this half brother in the book who's a Broadway star. So the next book is going to be that brother's story, and it's going to take place in New York when they're working on a Broadway show. And it's kind of inspired by John in that way. It's inspired by him, and there's some things like loosely based, but it's a whole different thing, it's hard to get into, especially because I'm still in the middle of writing this story. But a lot of things that are inspired by him, or things he's gone through, or then just other things I've heard about Broadway. It's so hard to describe, but he's been really good to all of us that, have followed him and been inspired by him with these things. So
during that conversation,
partially why he has such a loyal following with so many of us.
Well, I was going to say, he and I realized, and we mentioned it with each other in the conversation when he was a guest on the show, that we have similar ways of thinking about life, and we're kindred spirits in so many different ways, especially with the idea of lifting others up and inspiring others and being good to people. And empathy and compassion are still things that, should be at the forefront of life. And there's a lot of similarity there, which I think is a beautiful thing, right? And I think, all of these different things, even like this show here, similar people have said it's encouraged them to go back to singing and go back to performing, go back to doing so many different things in life. And I think when you're able to lift people up and inspire them, and sometimes you don't even know you're doing it because you're not deliberately doing it, and you're doing what comes naturally to you, and that happens to lift other people up or inspire. Because you can always tell when somebody's faking it, because it's inspiration and positivity and all of that is so like popular right now and in vogue. Like everybody says they're doing it. Positive energy, and then they don't, it's all is words. They're not really living it or doing it. It's not their truth or authenticity. I think when you do act on it, and it's just a part of a reflection of who you are, which obviously it is for you as much as it is for me or John or any of us, people realize that. They realize that it's coming from the heart and soul. We talk about it a lot on this show, that it's the real deal. It's not put on. It's not just because it's a popular thing right now or what have you, to always say inspirational and uplifting and positivity. It's something that I think you got to live and all your life. And if you look back in early elements of your youth, you probably were doing that. I know I was, and I was always told, I'm sure John too, you and others, even those watching, that we were always sort of like that to begin with, which I think is a beautiful thing. Like even Tess says, Marie, you are so inspiring. So, there's elements of this that we all have. It's acting upon it and sharing it with the world in a uniting, empathetic, compassionate way that really makes a world of difference. Wouldn't you agree, Marie?
Oh yeah, and I think it's something that like any of us that are in the creative field in some way, I think you start out life in some way a sensitive soul, and that's something that you have to deal with when you're growing up because you're more sensitive to everything, and you're on the shyer side, and over time you finally develop a voice, and then you get to share that with the world. But that sensitive side, people would, at least I know it happened to me, and I know of friends that it's happened to, that they try to make you feel bad about being a sensitive person. Oh,
They
you're too
take
soft.
advantage of it, or right, like they see it as they see it
People
as
try to take advantage of it even as an
they,
adult, but
they
as a
see it as
kid,
a weakness,
and
a
they see it as,
vulnerability and a weakness, and it's
or
actually a
like,
strength.
oh, you got to be tough, you got to, and like, yes, I mean, you need to be, you can be strong. What's that quote about the balance between being strong and soft? You learn that as you go. But it's kind of hard to describe, but
It's a
it's something
strength,
that
not a
you should
weakness. Yeah,
embrace.
kindness and empathy and all of that, being sensitive to
And
people
especially
and
nowadays, I mean, we've been through a lot in
strength.
the country and in the world with, well, I'll just say, a lot of people that are not kind.
There's been
And
a lot of that lately. Yes.
well, I'll just put it that way. And the world needs a lot more of the people who are sensitive and caring and compassionate, and just to, whether a pandemic or not, just to make things better, make the world a better place. And, we can all lift each other up that way.
Hmm. That's very, very true. And we talk about it a lot on this show, that it's important to do that. And people are searching for that. They're searching for places, venues, product, people that reflect that. Because there's so much negativity out there. There's so much nonsense out there. There's so many untruths out there. There's just so much visceral reactivity to things out there that you got to have a balance. You got to have some harmony in there. You got to have some empathy. Some people could say, oh, that's very sappy, Pollyanna. Not necessarily. It's all in how you interpret it and how you absorb it. But I think I've even written about this, where anybody that thinks people who are good-hearted or kind or empathetic are weak and vulnerable and maybe even old-fashioned, like that's passe. You got to be raw and in your face, or you don't survive. Well, not necessarily. I mean, there's got to be a balance. Sure, you can't be blindfolded and you can't, live in just fiction 24/7. Although I think we need fiction to balance
Yeah.
reality. I mean, we can't just live in the world of 24/7 reality either, because
Sometimes in
we
fiction,
need
there's
some
enough
fiction.
of truth that will
Right.
help you with something in reality.
Exactly right. And you got to brainstorm and fantasize, daydream. Some of the most incredible creative moments come out of all of that. But anybody that confuses kindness with weakness is making a huge mistake, because generally, and I have found that people who are kinder, maybe go out of their way for the world, for each other, um, tend to take the world on their shoulders. So in order to be able to do that, you have to have some inner strength. If you were a weak individual that folded immediately whenever there was a problem or an issue or confusion or chaos, or somebody needed comfort and care, you wouldn't be able to rise to the occasion and do it and share about it, and do it in the ways I do it, and you do it, and others out there who may be watching, some of the guests, like you say, who've been on. Um, it's a strength, because we tend to take the world's troubles on our shoulders, and you add them to your own life. Oh, let me take care of that. Oh, you don't worry about that. Oh, let's come together and let's look for a solution. So that takes strength to be able to do that. The difference is, it's not in your face strength. It's not the braggadocious type strength or kindness. There's enough people out there who will do something and then they'll go on, for the rest of their lives bragging about, look what they did. Look what I did. I was the one who did that. A lot of the people who do daily things that are kind may celebrate them, but at the same time, they're not necessarily on every street corner with a big sign saying, look what I did. I rescued that person, or I did that, they tend to just move on to the next thing. And it's something that comes naturally for them, right?
Right. And it should never be, I mean, it's always nice if somebody acknowledges that you did something kind, but you should never be doing something kind because you want something in return from somebody.
A lot of people do that. Yeah.
For it. And there are so many people that do that. And, they
want to be a martyr, or they want to be a hero and to be rewarded for that. You should never step into being a hero saying that I want to be a hero. You end up becoming a hero because of something you said or did or didn't do too. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be a hero. It's not one of those things you can just sort of create and manufacture, because if you do, people who've gone around saying that they're the hero, they're the winner or whatever, that doesn't last very long, and it becomes very narcissistic in a way. The people who end up rescuing the baby out of a burning car or whatever it is, they do it on impulse. They do it because they know the right thing to do. It comes instinctually for them. It could be their upbringing, their way of life. It could be just an essence of who they are, or all the above. But it is something that is within them to react and to do it in a positive way. And oftentimes when you see people who've done incredible things and they're interviewed, they're very humble about it. Oh, that was nothing. Oh, anybody would have done that. Or I was just doing what, was the right thing to do, what I was supposed to do. And as humble and beautiful as that is, there are a lot of people who would just stand and watch and wouldn't have jumped in to help, wouldn't have offered that kind word or that sense of balance and solace that everybody needs. I don't care. It could be the toughest cat on the block. Every once in a while, even that toughest cat on the block needs to be heard, listened to, consoled. We all do from time to time. That's a shield of armor usually that they have on that's protecting them from hurt that's happened probably over the years. So they build up this armor of, I'm this, and you'll never be able to get inside.
Break through that too to get to people. Yeah.
Right. I've always tried. Have you? I've always tried different ways to do it.
I have. Yeah. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes it does eventually.
If you're patient and you take time. Exactly. Kathleen Walker in New York City says, I have to be kind and caring. I like being there for people. Treat others the way you want to be treated. My mother taught me well. And also, she's in New York City. Exactly. Don't mistake her kindness for weakness. I agree. LaDonna says, caring and smiles. And Denise says, kindness, caring and compassion are empowering. Healing others can bring you strength. Agreed, Denise. I would never expect anything in return if I do something for someone. Tess LaBella, Jim, you are so right. Thanks, Tess. And so true, Jim, Denise. And Juanita says, in return, she does demand chocolate.
Chocolate's always a good thing.
You got to have a place somewhere, right? You can't keep doing it all for zero because it wears you out. If somebody wants to give you a piece of chocolate in return, not bad. That is fun.
The other thing is that, like, people who are the kind that, like, go and do the kind thing without expecting anything in return, it's a good thing. And I know several people like this. Sometimes they need support too, but they don't show it because they have that inner strength. And
they don't ask, right?
They're going, once in a while I could use a word of support, or I could use a word of kindness, and a lot of people don't think of that because they're already thinking, that person, because they help everybody else, they're okay. And they're
superhuman. And that those people are
Everybody's human
superhuman.
and they need that support sometimes. So it's just something good to keep in mind whenever you encounter anybody in your life that's that kind of person, that don't forget about them, that sometimes they might need, a kind word or something from you too.
I often say, exactly, I agree 100%, Marie. I often say that when you are able to do for others and lift others up, inspire them, dust them off, whatever it may be, it's very therapeutic for yourself because you may see elements of yourself in them. You might relate to them, and or even if you don't, it comes back. I think it comes back. What you put out there as far as energy comes back in certain ways. It may take a while, but there are little things that happen during the day that are little signs of it coming back to you. Not that you did it specifically to have it return, but I do think there are essences of life that where it comes back in ways that you're very surprised by when you've been somebody who lives life that way, in this sort of we're all in it together mindset and unification and caring. And even in your writing style, I know that you have elements of that in there, and that's important, right? You like to, like I said in the beginning when I started this show, leave the room better than you found it.
Exactly. I mean, that's everybody needs to be uplifted at some point. Everybody goes through things, and then, especially now, everybody's got different stresses. Some people are in healthcare and they have that kind of stress, or they have somebody, in their family in healthcare and they have that kind of stress. Some people are dealing with the actual, illness. Some people are dealing with, being out of work because of this, or money issues. All different kinds of, or just the emotions. If you're the kind of person that is normally out and about and you're cooped up all the time now. And I mean, I'm somebody that, like, I like my quiet time and then I like my time to be out. It's like a balance for me. But I do still like my quiet time. But there are times now where it's like, man, I'd really like to go do this or do that, and you can't, just to blow off some steam, and you can't even do that right now. So even just that kind of thing, and everybody's going through those stresses and needs support in different ways depending on what they're going through. And it just, you can help support one person through what they're going through, and then they can support you through the other issue you're going through. We just kind of all have to be compassionate with each other at this point.
Exactly, exactly. So you have another book coming out. What are some other things that are on your bucket list? Other things that you would still like to do within the realm of writing, Marie?
Well, it's funny because I've had a couple of readers tell me that they can picture the book that's out now as a movie, and like, well, that would be a good thing. I
Yes,
could
it
handle
would.
that.
Yeah.
So something like that. But I've also, and I mean, I don't have like an actual outline of anything yet, but I dream of writing a Broadway show.
That's
So
very
I'm at that
cool.
point where now that I've written somewhat about Broadway in the one book and I'm writing more about Broadway in the other book, I'm thinking of like a step toward actually writing a show. And then, like, I still work on song lyrics from time to time. With everything else I'm writing, everything else I'm doing, I don't work on it as much as I'd like to, but I do still work on it when I get to, or when, that spark of inspiration comes. But then, at that point, maybe a Broadway show, a musical. Now, I'm a word person where I'm not the person who hears the new melody in my head. But I hear the words in my head. So I probably need somebody to help me out with the, melody part, and I would be the lyricist on those. But that would be something, to help write the songs, but then write the book for the actual musical. That's something I'd like to do at some point.
That's very exciting, very exciting. So, how are you able to balance the writing with the day job as well? Are you very focused? I'm going to reserve this hour of the day or these days to focus on writing? Are you very diligent and able to sort of really focus and be determined to stick to that plan? Or do you allow yourself to breathe and, like, whenever I get the inspiration to write, I'm going to write. I'm not going to force myself to be, at pen and paper at 8 p.m. every Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday? Are you regimented about it, or are you free about it? When the inspiration comes, when the material flows in and through you, that's when you run to the pen and paper and start writing. How does it work for you?
It's kind of a mix of both, because there are some times where work is so overwhelming that if I don't like pencil in time to do it, then I'm stressed and I think of other things to do, or I just zone out and then I don't do it. So there are times where I'm like, okay, on this day and this day, when I get home from work after I have dinner and whatever, I clean up whatever, then I need to sit and write. And I do that. But then there are certain days where you sit to do that and it's just not coming to you. So then you let it breathe for a couple of days and then see, if you clear your head and think about other things, sometimes something will come to you that wasn't coming to you when you were trying to force it. So it's kind of a combination.
Who are some of the writers and authors that have inspired you over the years, Marie? Some of your favorites?
Well, it started in high school with Jane Austen, and then also like play-wise, Tennessee Williams. I've always loved his plays, and there's just something like, and I mean, The Glass Menagerie. I mean, Tom's a writer, and his whole story. As I saw the play when I was in high school, our drama class saw it. I had certain things, I'd relate to the daughter more. And, and then at some points I'd relate to the mom. And then as I got older, I relate to Tom more because of the writing and trying to go after his dreams and being stuck somewhere, at a job, even like he hated his job. My job's pretty good, but it's still retail. And it's like, it's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So,
Sure, for the interim, yeah.
It kind of inspired, that to get out and do more of that. So those kind of writers. And then contemporary wise, there's a writer named Catherine Anderson. Her books are really good. And then Luann Rice is the big one. She's the one that when I put writing aside for a while and started reading her books, was when I was inspired to start doing it again. And at least over social media, I've talked to her where, she's been very encouraging too. And she is, like with all her readers, she's a really great person. And I would encourage people to read her books too. She has, some of hers are considered romance and some are considered just straight fiction. And now she's getting more into a little bit of a thriller thing. The last couple of books. I mean, she's written over 30 books. But she's got one that just came out a couple days ago that I haven't picked up yet. But the one before that actually was the one I was wound up reading first when we all shut down and had to stay home, it was her first thriller, and it was like amazing. And it's called Last Day, if anybody's looking for it. It's a really good story, and it does not turn out the way you would expect at all.
A little bit twist to the ending, yeah.
I mean, she crafted it so well that you're thinking, well, this person probably did it, or this person, or it's one of these three people, and then something comes totally out of left field, and then you're like, well, maybe it's not those people, and maybe it's this person, and then when you finally get to the end, it all makes sense. But for her to get there, it was well done.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So again, the book itself, where can people find the book? Amazon, is that the main place where people can find Never Forgotten You?
It is on Amazon is the main place. I have, like, on my Instagram and stuff, I have the link up to it. But even if you just Google, or not really Google, but if you search on Amazon for the title, type in Never Forgotten You and then my name, Marie Cauley, because when you just type in Never Forgotten You, some other things pop up, like some historical books first. But if you type it in with my name, then it's like on the first page and you'd be able to find it.
Amy asks, do you play any instruments?
It's been a while, but I did take up guitar when I was like 11 or 12, and I played for a while. And then when I was 16, 17, I started taking lessons to play pedal steel guitar, which, I mean, it's mostly used in country music, and I grew up on a lot of country music. I listen to like everything. So there's certain artists that, I love. And one of my idols when I was in high school was Barbara Mandrell. So
Sure,
when she started playing pedal steel when she was like 10 or something like that. And it was just one of those instruments where it's like, I'd seen it before on other people playing on other shows and didn't really know what it was till, she had her show and with her sisters and you'd see her playing it. And you were like, that's pretty cool. You know what? That'd be kind of cool to learn that. And I wound up, Cleveland isn't exactly a hotbed for like finding country instruments to play. But I did eventually.
Good Polish food in Cleveland.
Oh yeah, and I'm half Polish. I'm Polish on my mom's side, so I know all about that stuff. And my mom made it all the time. But with the pedal steel, there's a double neck and there's a single neck. And double neck is what you would see her play on TV, or a lot of people like play in a band because they'd have the full instrument with the double neck. But mine that I have, and I still have it, it's packed away, and it would have to be like restrung, retuned, everything. But it's a single neck, and you assemble it. You have to play. It's very hard to coordinate. You have a volume pedal to work with one foot. There's 3 pedals, different pedals to work with your other foot. There's levers you press with your knees. There's like picks on 3 of your fingers on one hand, and you got the steel bar that you're messing with on the other side. So it takes a lot of effort to do it. It's kind of like relearning the Spanish again. Like you have to take some time and sit down and like really concentrate and focus on it so that you can pick it back up again. But I would like to start playing it again at some point. And now it's not just a country instrument. There's a lot of different kinds of music that are incorporating it in their songs now. So it's kind of interesting to see where it's gone. And yeah, so guitar and pedal steel were the 2 things that I played. And for a short time, I took dulcimer lessons. And cool. I mean, that was for a few months, but yeah, I think that was something that I wound up doing for school. But
speaking of lessons and being inspired by being taught by others, do you like to inspire and teach others, young minds, others who are considering going into writing and journalism and becoming an author themselves?
I do. And I have people ask me for advice sometimes, and I try to help out wherever I can, because, there's room for all of us. We're all in it together. If you truly want to write and you're not just, I want to be a writer so I look important, because there are people that do that. They're like, oh, that sounds cool. Hey, maybe, people will think I'm some big shot because I'm a writer. It's not as glamorous as that. For one thing, you have to like sit down and be, pay attention to what you're doing and really concentrate on it. So you have to really love it, because, it takes a lot of focus and a lot of effort, and you have to be in it for the right reasons because you love it. And that's something that I love it. And so when I find other people that truly love it and truly want to know more about it, I'm more than willing to share what I know. I've had a couple friends ask me about different things about self-publishing, and that I share that with them. Other tips, people of all ages. And my niece now is starting to show a little bit of, the writing gene, so to speak. And my son does, my son dabbles in some writing, and he's always very encouraging. He was excited when he heard I was going to be on this tonight. But he's the scientific mind because he wants to be a neurosurgeon. So, he's got all the analytical everything, but he also has that creative side of him because he sang in men's choir in high school and everything like that. So, he's got that side of him too. And so he writes a little bit, but then my niece is the one that she's not the scientific person. She's like fully artistic. And, so I try to help her when I can too, because she shows some potential.
That's fantastic. It's always great to pay it forward and to inspire others, regardless of age and interest. You never know who wants to do these kinds of, take on these kinds of roles in life. So it's beautiful to be able to inspire like this. What are some of the things that inspire you and bring you great blessing and joy in your life to sort of have you forge ahead with writing?
Just other authors, and it's funny because now I've connected with, not really connected like a lot, but somewhat over social media and stuff with some other authors that I didn't know about before because we have more time on our hands now. So I'm discovering other authors that I didn't know about, and especially because some ladies and I in the Cleveland area are doing a book club now. So we're reading some different books. And right now we meet via Zoom because, COVID. And we all said we can't wait for the day when we're all actually can all meet in person. And I mean, the one lady I do know, I knew her already, and she used to be a local reporter here in Cleveland. And she does like freelance stuff herself now, but she started this book club. So she's the one that I knew. And so some of these other ladies, like she knew all of them, but we're all getting to know each other. So it'll be nice when we all get to meet in person.
Yes,
so
sure.
Being inspired by new books, different books. I'm always inspired by Broadway because that's what I'm currently writing about. Any type of music. A lot of times I'll listen to different types of music to be inspired. Depending what scene you're writing, whatever kind of music. Like right now with the book I'm writing, sometimes it's the Jersey Boys original Broadway cast, album. Sometimes it's a different.
Did you see the episodes we did with J. Robert Spencer and also Michael Longoria from Jersey Boys?
I missed those.
Yeah, they're on the YouTube channel.
But sometimes I'll listen to that one. Sometimes I'll listen to like another cast album. Like I picked up not that long ago. I had to order off Amazon one of the books for my book club because we didn't carry it in our store because it was an older book. And spend this much and you get your free shipping. So I'm like, I need to buy something else. So I picked up the Ain't Too Proud original Broadway cast album. So that one's one I listen to now sometimes. Other cast albums, just different types of, and all kinds of music. Like I'll listen to the old stuff that inspired me growing up, which is featured in the book now that's published now. Because one of the dreams that this girl has is, to sing, and then they discover that her voice is really good. And they're like, well, let's try some different, standards and classics with your voice and see what happens with them. So that's in the book. And of course, I wrote this way before I even saw the Jersey Boys movie, but one of my favorite songs of all time is Can't Take My Eyes Off You. So that song is in the book. And that's been in there forever. And the version I grew up on wasn't even the Frankie Valli one. It was the Engelbert Humperdinck one. My mom had. It was the first one I ever heard, and I loved the song. Yeah. And then I heard the Frankie Valli one, and then I heard other people sing it and so on. Other music growing up, stuff that, my mom liked and turned me on to, like Tom Jones and stuff like that. I'll listen to that stuff. And then I'll turn around and listen to like some Keith Urban or something like that. Just a different mix.
For a balance.
Keeps it fresh. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Balance is what it's all about. Exactly. I want to show the audience the cover of the book again, encourage them to go to Amazon if you'd like to pick it up. Never Forgotten You, our very special guest, is author and writer, Marie Cauley. There's another book coming out, and we'll keep you abreast of that. And hopefully, we'll have you back maybe when that book is out as well. You can go to Amazon, folks, and put in the name as well as her name. You see the spelling there on your screen. Marie, this was awesome. This was great having you on the show as my guest, live from Cleveland.
Thank you for thinking of me and inviting me on. You know, this was a real treat to do.
You know, we chatted for an hour and a half already.
You know what's funny? When you invited me, my first thought was, how long am I going to be talking for? Am I going to have enough to talk about that amount of time? And then we wound up talking about all these different things. And I'm looking at, I'm like, oh, the time did go by rather quickly. We're talking about so many different things.
Absolutely.
And that's part of what's the beauty of your show is that it's like a conversation and you don't even realize how much time has gone by, and you talk about different things and it's just relaxed, and you know, you cover a lot of ground, but it's relaxed, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, an hour and a half later and
and here we are, right? I know. Well, it really was fantastic. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you certainly enjoyed your time with me as much as I have with you, Marie. It was terrific.
Thank you. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm glad to be a Lovity now and to, you know, these other Lovities.
Absolutely. Continued success, my friend. Let's stay in touch. You're welcome back anytime, and it was really a pleasure. Congratulations on the book, and of course, you know, all the other work you've done within the world of writing and journalism. And love to have you back as you're developing more. We can share more here on the show and tell everybody about the show, spread the word, and everybody should subscribe to our YouTube channel, right, Marie?
Absolutely. Yes. And go back and watch some of the episodes that you've missed.
Yeah. You'll get to watch J. Robert Spencer and Michael Longoria from Jersey Boys, Sean Wiley, who was in a version of Jersey Boys as well, and with Under the Street Lamp, was a guest on the show, and I interviewed him on public television as well. But you be well, you stay well, my friend. Again, this was a real delight. And
everybody stay safe and well.
Exactly. You stay safe and you stay well. And just want to show you some of the Lovities saying thank you as well. Maureen says, thanks for a great conversation this evening. Marie, stay safe and stay well. Karen says, so glad I tuned in. Thank you, Karen. And I hope you'll watch regularly. Speaking of Broadway, tomorrow we have Broadway producer, veteran, legendary Broadway producer, Mark Levine with us on the show Wednesday. Then on Thursday, actor Sean Kanan from General Hospital, The Young and the Restless, and so many other, and some really cool new productions he's in. He's with us on Wednesday. That's Thursday. Today's already Tuesday. So we've got Mark Levine, Broadway producer, on Wednesday, right? Thursday, actor Sean Kanan. And then Friday, Cammie Cutler, who was in Little House on the Prairie, is going to be with us on Friday, which is going to be great as well. So hope you guys will tune in. And then Brian Dunphy from the High Kings, the Irish songwriter and musician, will be here on Saturday for a special conversation live from Ireland. Juanita says, great conversation. Thanks for your time, Marie. Looking forward to reading your book, and good luck with the next one. And LaDonna says, thank you for a great inspirational show. It is my pleasure. Hope you'll watch more often, LaDonna. And Pasqua says, always interesting and entertaining. Thank you, Pasqua. And Mona says, thank you for your time tonight. Looking forward to reading your book. That's Mona. Diana says, super show, Marie and Jim. Thank you very much, Diana. Hope you'll watch regularly on YouTube, Jim Masters TV. Kathy Short in Cleveland says, good night, Marie. Thank you for such a wonderful evening.
Somewhere, Kathy.
That's right. Good night, Marie, from Denise. Thank you for a great interview and hope to see you soon. Thank you, Denise. We appreciate that. Maureen, thanks for a great conversation this evening. Marie, stay safe. A fond mahalo from Marie to Marie from Craig, Ghostwriter 556 in beautiful and sunny Hawaii. Not a bad place to be. Ann Wozniak says, this has been an amazing evening. Thank you, Marie, for sharing the time with you. I second all of that levity, my friend, and thanks again, and we toast you. It was a pleasure with some unconditional dog love for our mug here. Gotcha.
Here
Yeah,
we
there we
go.
go. Slancha, cheers.
Yay.
Thanks for joining us, my friend. You take care. You be well. And
You
somebody else
too.
that also enjoyed himself this evening, one of our cast of characters, Mr. George Burns, enjoyed himself tonight as well with you. And he says it was a pleasure meeting you. Got to love George, right? George and Gracie.
Absolutely.
That's it. Got to have some levity. Tina says, excellent show and great conversation. Stay safe and well, Marie. You too, Tina. Thank you. And Louise says, thoroughly enjoyable interview, Marie and Jim. Thank you. Looking forward to the sequel to Never Forgotten You.
It's
And
getting
says,
there.
yes, it's been an amazing evening. Thank you, Marie, for sharing the time with us. You take care, my friend. Thanks for stopping by the Jim Masters Show Live. Spread the word. We would love that. And thanks for the time tonight. It was a pleasure getting a chance to meet you a little bit more and share your passions with all here on the program tonight.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. You take care. Have a good night there in Cleveland.
You too. Be safe, everyone.
Take care. Thanks, Marie. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
A lovety, another lovety here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Absolutely. Hope you enjoyed our conversation, learning a little bit more about author and writer, novelist, romance novelist, inspirational romance novelist, the wonderful Marie Cauley. So glad we were able to have her on the show for you tonight. And she and I have been chatting about having her join me as my special guest many, many weeks ago, well before the holidays, actually. And I'm so glad she was able to pop on tonight. Again, you can find her material at Amazon. And again, there is the book, Never Forgotten You by Marie Cauley, wonderful columnist and as well author and writer with an inspirational bent, a positive inspirational bent to all of her work. We thank Marie for joining us here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We thank all of you as well. Again, a reminder of some of the amazing people that are coming up. Tomorrow, Broadway producer Mark Levine, live and direct from New York City, is going to be with us. Live and direct from Los Angeles on Thursday, actor Sean Kanan is going to be here. And live from LA, Cayman Kotler is going to be here from the Waltons. She's going to be here. She was, I think I said that earlier. Did I say Little House on the Prairie? She's from the Waltons, yes. And she's going to be here on Friday. And if you want to see some of the guests we've had from Little House on the Prairie, Allison Arngram, who played Nellie Olson, was a guest on our show too. You can see that episode. Anson Williams from Happy Days, who played Potsy in Happy Days, was just on about a week or so ago. You can see him as well. Brian Dunphy is going to be with us on Saturday, live, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. in Ireland, Scotland, and England. He's going to perform live. He's with the High Kings. And he's amazing. So we encourage you to check out our Saturday show. It's going to be a lot of music and a lot of good Irish crack. Wonderful interview, Jim. Thank you. Denise, thank you as well. You have a good night. And Amy, great show, Marie and Jim. Thank you, Amy. And take care, Marie, from Kathleen. And Craig in Hawaii says another charmingly refreshing show, Jim. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Tina says, thank you, Jim, for another heartwarming evening. You are a treasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think all of you are as well, all of our lovely viewers. Now, as we always say, don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the lovity. Don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine, of course, is with loving family and friends. That is number 1. And then, of course, writing and cycling and tennis and music. The ocean is my go-to place, my Zen place. Growing up and living here along the Northeast and the East Coast, always a Zen place for me, the ocean. And, of course, my work in television, radio, multimedia, stage, on camera, on air, behind the scenes. All these years in various capacities, different shows and stations, productions. Love it all. And of course, we always say, don't forget to relax. Don't forget to take care of one another and love one another and love yourself. Breathe from the diaphragm. It's so important to do that during the crazy times like we're having now and anytime, because life is short, very short. And inspire others, because when you do, you get inspired as well. And we've talked a lot about that tonight with our very special guest, Marie Cauley. So don't forget to relax. We say that on every episode of our show. We've got a busy week of episodes coming up. throughout. We had a wonderful conversation tonight. Where would we be without Loverty Hall? Thank you so much, Jim. You and your team for bringing us these shows each day. You are appreciated beyond words. Thank you, Maureen. I really appreciate that. You have a wonderful night as well. Yes, thanks for tonight, Jim. Hope you and all the Loverties have a great night. And hugs and love to all. Stay safe and stay warm. You too. I appreciate that. Juanita says, lovely show. Thanks, Jim. Good night, everyone. Stay warm in the snow. We sure will, Juanita. Good night, Jim, and everyone. To you as well. And Wozniak, thanks for being with us. It's always wonderful to have you here. And we love all the comments and the participation. Whether you're watching live or you watch this later, you can see all of our episodes of the Jim Master Show live in the archives on YouTube. And we'd love it if you subscribe to the channel as well. Kathleen Walker says, have a great night, Jim. Good night, everyone. Lovety hugs to all. Good way to wrap up another episode of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with Broadway producer Mark Levine. It's going to be a cool show tomorrow, and we hope you are there. Pasquana says, wonderful. Good evening. Good night, everyone. You as well, Pasquana. We thank you very much for being a part of our show tonight. You guys are the best. Lovety to you all. You're a blessing. Spread the word. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube, all at Jim Masters TV. Sending you some lovety from us here to you, wherever you are around the world. Thanks for joining us. Your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time. We'll see you right here tomorrow on the Jim Masters Show Live. Good night.